see if it
I
works.
brought a handheld one just in case.
So, I was just surprised at how much it.
Cool.
I drove it up. She's in Thousand Oaks, so I drove it up to
Oh, okay.
Thousand Oaks.
I went to a memory care facility in my
Oh, which one? My mom was at Aegis for townhouse.
Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and get our meeting started at 5:03. Mr. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Duran.
Here.
Councilmember McReynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Mongonay.
Here.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Here.
Councilmember Campos.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Halter.
Here.
Mayor Dr. Sanchez Palacios.
Here.
7 members present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilmember Mangonay, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will go ahead and go into our special presentations at this time. We have Ms. Vanessa Rauschenberger, close enough, I'm sorry, from Gold Coast Transit District to give us an annual update. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, members of the council. I'm happy to be here. For the record, I'm Vanessa Rauschenberger. I'm the general manager of Gold Coast Transit District, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to present an annual update to you all. I think this might be the first annual update we've done in a few years. I took over as general manager in 2022, so just finishing my third year as the general manager, but I've been with the district for almost 14 years in different roles. So I know a lot of history about the transit services. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask questions as we go. Next slide. Our mission, serving, moving, and connecting people to opportunity one ride at a time. At Gold Coast Transit, we take that very seriously. All of our staff are very dedicated into ensuring that our riders get where they need to go. Next slide, please. We serve the cities of Ojai, Oxnard, Port Hueneme, Ventura, and the county unincorporated areas between the cities. We operate 17 fixed routes with 61 full-size buses and 28 smaller vans and cutaways. We employ approximately 228 employees. The majority of those are our wonderful bus operators, our mechanics, our maintenance. We have a administrative staff of about 18. Next slide. Once again, I want to just give a shout out to our team at Gold Coast who are out in the community, on the streets every day, working and making sure that our community has the ability to access things that they might not otherwise be able to if they did not have public transit. Next slide. We're guided by our wonderful board of directors, which comprises of an elected official from each of the members of the district. Thank you to board director Mayor Sanchez Palacios for her leadership on our board this past year. A little history about the district, if you aren't aware. GCTD was founded in 1973, originally as South Coast Area Transit, or SCAT. Not a very nice name, but it was eventually changed to Gold Coast Transit. And it was formed in the 70s, back when the cities that are now part of the district decided to join forces and instead of operate their own municipal systems to create a consolidated, unified public transit system. So for the last 50 years, we've been doing that. In 2014, we formalized that organization by forming a special district, which has been in operations since then. Today, each member jurisdiction appoints one board member and one staff who form the Technical Advisory Committee. For the city of Ventura, that's currently Alex Puga, but in the past it has also been Sergio Albran, Jeff Hereford over the years, all who have been great partners in supporting the district and helping guide our services. Next slide. This year, our board established priorities for the district for our staff, including operational efficiencies using our short-range transit plan to help guide our services. We also have taken a look at our organizational structure to make sure that we're in compliance with all of our required rules and regulations. We also are looking to maximize our space at our new facility. If you haven't been, we're located at 1901 Auto Center Drive, located behind Costco in Oxnard. We've moved into that facility in 2019, and it's quite a large facility. So we've been working to make the best use of the space that we have. Over the last year, we consolidated our paratransit services into our facility. We've been offering fueling partnerships with the city of Oxnard and making the best use of that investment. And we're also focused on budget management. And as I'm sure you are, in these times, we have limited resources and are constrained. And so we're working to make sure we're managing our funding the best that we can. Next slide. Our funding sources for public transit, contrary to popular belief, we're not primarily funded through fares. Fares cover an important part of our budget, but just about 10 to 15% of our operating costs are covered by passenger fares. The majority of our funding comes from federal formula funds, grants, state funds through the Transportation Development Act, and other small grants that we apply for, both formula and competitive. And we work very closely with Ventura County Transportation Commission. I know Deputy Mayor Halter serves on that commission. And we work very closely with Martin Erickson and the team there to make sure that the transit funds that are eligible for Ventura County come to Ventura County. Next slide. In 2026, our annual budget is just over $40 million. That includes funding from all of the sources I just mentioned, including smaller sources such as advertising on the buses and special programs such as our fueling program. Next slide. And then this is our funding uses for the year. The vast majority goes to fund our services, so our wages and salaries for our bus operators, so benefits. Most of our funds go to operations, and that includes operators and maintenance operating the service. We also have funds that come back to each municipal city, such as for things like member transit needs. Next slide, please. So just some examples. This year, we'll have $2.6 million of our budget that will come back to our member jurisdictions for things such as maintaining the transit centers, bus stop amenities, maintenance of transit facilities, operations of locally operated services, so like the Ojai Trolley. Next slide. In Ventura, there are over 200 bus stops in Ventura alone, over 600 in our entire network. And this year, I'm very proud to say that we worked with the City of Ventura Traffic Division and also VCTC to implement new solar lighting. So we implemented 32 bus stops with solar lighting in the city of Ventura, and those are 2 examples, as well as 7 new shelters. So just shout out to the traffic division for their help in coordinating that. And I also want to thank the traffic division and just the staff construction team. All this construction going on here in front of Ventura College has impacted our routes, but there's been really good communication to our team about when the stops are going to be open, when they're going to be closed. That's helped us let the public know when they can use the stop, so we're appreciative of that. Next slide. Other projects going on at Gold Coast include our zero emissions transition. We're in the midst of the first phase of our transition to zero emissions. We're awarded a $12 million federal grant to purchase our first 5 hydrogen fuel cell buses, and we will be constructing a hydrogen fuel station alongside our CNG station at our yard. And so we're really excited to be kicking that off. While that's exciting, we also know that there are challenges ahead. The cost of a hydrogen bus is quite a bit more than CNG, so we have to proceed with caution and make sure that we're transitioning at a pace that we have grant funding to do so. So we are proceeding with that, but it is quite an expensive project, I will say. Next slide. Some events in Ventura that we participate in. We are a sponsor of Art Walk, and so every year you've been able to ride the bus for free for Art Walk by using a QR code. We also participate in many events, Earth Day, events at the colleges, open houses. We do presentations to senior centers, back to school. So if you know of any events that you'd like us to come do an informational presentation, please let us know. We're happy to come out. Next slide. One of the key areas we'll be doing outreach on this year include outreach in the Saticoy area around our short-range transit plan. So in 2024, the board approved a 5-year service plan, but part of that plan will be looking at our stops, looking at our routes, and each year there's an area of focus. Next year's focus will be the Saticoy area. So we'll be doing outreach leading up to that to work with Saticoy to determine which types of route improvements we'll be able to make or which type of route adjustments we'll need to make the service overall more efficient. Next slide. In terms of ridership, last year, the year ending June 2025, we had 3.6 million riders in our system. It was an increase of about 1.7 from the prior year, with increases in our passengers per hour. We're just about at 20 passengers per hour overall. Next slide. Looking at the last 25-year history, you can see here each line, a horizontal line represents a year in the past 25 years. The green areas are the areas of high ridership. The red areas are areas of low ridership. That big red band there you can see was the impact of COVID-19 on the public transit system. We had a huge drop in ridership as people were staying home. But I'm happy to say that this year we've exceeded our pre-pandemic ridership and are back into the upward swing, which is great to see. Next slide. Serving Ventura, we have 17 routes I mentioned, but 5 of them specifically serve the city of Ventura. Route 6, serving Oxnard to Ventura, is our most popular route. Route 11, which serves along Telephone. Route 10, which serves along Telegraph, including right here in front of the college. Route 16, which goes up to Ojai, and then Route 21, which connects the Pacific View Mall all the way down to Port Hueneme. Pleased to say the 3 most frequent routes run through Ventura, so 6, 11, and 21 operate every 25 to 35 minutes, and the Route 10 and 16 operate every hour. We also connect with the free transfer to the VCTC Inner City, that's the regional bus to go to Camarillo, East County, and Santa Barbara. So we're very happy to partner with that. Next slide. It's $2 to ride, $1 for people who have disabilities and seniors 65 plus. The bus is free if you're 75 plus or older. And also through a grant fund, we are able to provide free rides for youth 18 and under, and also for local college students. The service operates 7 days a week between the hours of 4, 5 o'clock, and around 10 p.m. Next slide. And as I mentioned, we are, for the past few years, been participating in the county-wide free ride. This has been a hugely popular program funded through the statewide greenhouse gas fund through cap and trade. So you hear in the news that those funds might be at risk at the state level. I will say that what that funding source funds here in Ventura County are free rides for youth and college students. So we hope to see that funding source be continued. Next slide. Additionally, I want to mention our Go Access service. This is service that provides curb-to-curb service. It's a shared ride, reservations-based service that's similar in length of time to riding the bus. It's eligible for people who have a disability or who are 65 or older, and the fare is $4 per ride. Next slide. Other services that we offer available to the general public, no eligibility required, includes our Safe Rides program, which is early morning and late night travel. So before 7 a.m. and after 7 p.m., anyone can ride the curb-to-curb service for a $5 fare. Same reservation rules apply to call and make a reservation. And then we also offer throughout the day the same curb-to-curb service for people who might have a temporary disability who are not eligible for access because they don't have a certified disability, they can still use the service for healthcare reasons, but they pay a zone-based fare. Next slide. To schedule a ride on those zone curb-to-curb services, you dial our phone number here and make your reservation the day before. Next slide. And then just to end, I want to share our contact information. If anyone has any questions or new to the service, wants to make a reservation, this is our information. It's also available on our website. Next slide. And with that, I'll close here, and thank you again for giving me the opportunity to give a presentation. I hope it was informative, and if you have any questions, happy to answer those.
Thank you, Ms. Rauschenberger. Appreciate it. I don't think we have any questions. Do you have a question? Yes. Councilmember Schumacher, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for your presentation. I just have a couple questions. Such a great service to the community for all the cities involved. In regards to the grant in 2023, are there any concerns about any federal clawbacks that might happen?
Initially, we were very concerned about, that, but the funds have been fully obligated, so we're drawing down on them. We've gotten assurance from our regional office that those previously awarded funds are safe. So,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then if there's any other ways that we can help as the city to help support how we can even continue increasing our ridership, is there any things that you would like us to do to promote and even help out even further?
Thank you. Yeah, I think, the best, in my opinion, the best thing we can do to encourage ridership is to make people feel safe wanting to ride the system. And so continuing to partner with the city staff on things like improving the bus stops. We've done a great job this past year in adding solar lighting, but we also work with the planning department in integrating our feedback into plans when there's developments that are built. If there's ways that access to walk paths to the bus stop can be improved, or lighting, amenities, benches, those kinds of things are out of our control. We don't own the right of way or the bus stops or the amenities. Those all belong to you as a city. And so the more you can make it inviting to wait for the bus, it's not always as frequent as people would like it to be, but if we can make the path there to the bus stop safer and the waiting space safer, that really makes transit more inviting to use.
Thank you. And that's helpful because, as one of our strategic priorities, we are focused on mitigating the effects of climate change. And so that's certainly something that we want to continue doing, really enforce and really promote a lot more public transportation. So that's great feedback for us. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see anyone else, right? Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. We'll go ahead and move on to our closed session report. Mr. City Attorney?
Madam Mayor, the council took up all 5 items on the closed session agenda, and there was no reportable action.
Thank you. City Council Communications? Councilmember Mangone?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to let the community know about a few things. I attended a Fair Board meeting this morning. The Surfers Point Management Retreat construction has been on hold, primarily due to the fair. That will continue after Labor Day, and they are foreseeing about 4 to 6 weeks till it's all wrapped up. So in the next couple months, we'll see that project completed. Michael, I have a couple slides. Right, here we go. Midtown Ventura Community Council meeting on September 11th. I will be there giving a council update. Logan Babcock from the Public Works Department will be there, as well as a nonprofit spotlight, the ARC Foundation of Ventura. It is at Grace Cooper Church, which is on McMillan, across the street from the Washington School. And the next slide, please, Michael. Okay, and then this is something a lot of people have been talking about in the community the last couple weeks. If you're not aware, Caltrans is going to replace the Ventura Overhead Bridge. This bridge is when you exit State Beaches, just north of the city of Ventura. They are going to completely demolish and replace that bridge. Next slide. So here's the location. The beach just below the bridge here is Emwood State Beach. Next slide. This gives you a little bit of a view from Elmwood State Beach proper. Elmwood State Beach will be closed for the next 2 years. They're going to be doing some much needed and long awaited repairs and maintenance to the entrance to the state beach and also the campgrounds. The campgrounds have been closed for about 2 years now due to winter storms. So it's a long awaited project. Next slide. Here's a better aerial view of the exact location of the Ventura Overhead Bridge. Next slide. So the reason for the bridge replacement, the bridge is 90 years old. I was not aware of that. And it is quite literally falling apart. And there, if you ever travel in that direction, this is a direct link to the Omar Raines Bike Trail. This is used by thousands of runners, joggers, and bikers every week. And there's really no safe access over this bridge currently. Next slide. So there again, the bridge is 89 years old. It's fallen apart. And there is going to be a lot of improvements made other than just a bridge replacement. Those are on the next couple slides. I'll show you. Next slide, please. So this is a rendering of the new bridge. A little bit more modern than the old one. Next slide, please. Some project benefits. You can see here from the bottom rendering, this bike lane connection is similar to what you see on the 101 freeway connecting to Carpinteria. So it's going to be a nice addition in that zone. Next slide. The biggest concern people had when we're talking about this project is bike and pedestrian access along the one. As I mentioned, the Omar Raines Bike Trail will remain open from the city of Ventura. There will be a rerouting of the bike trail. You could see the bridge on the left-hand side of the blue and yellow arrows. Caltrans is actually going to divert the bike trail adjacent to the 101 freeway, and they're going to put a pedestrian bridge, which you can see at the top of the screen there, that will give access over the train tracks. There's a lot more, but that pretty much wraps it up. So this is supposed to start taking place in the next month or two. It's very difficult to get a straight answer from Caltrans. But the State Beaches off-ramp will also be closed for 2 years. So you will still have access to all the beaches north of Elmwood, but you will have to drive north. I think it's about 5 miles to Seacliff and make your way back. To get back to Ventura, though, you're going to have to head back north to Seacliff to the 101 and make that loop back to town. So hold on, but all the improvements are going to be great for everyone, including residents of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Mangone. Anyone else with council comments? Councilmember McReynolds?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just really quick, the East Ventura Community Council is looking for board members. We're going to try to schedule a meeting for September 18th. So if you're interested in serving, please reach out to me, and we're going to try to get that started. And I just wanted to thank the Ventura Land Trust for the invitation to the film festival this last weekend. I know I saw Councilmember Mangone there also. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other council communications? Councilmember Duran.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A few things I wanted to share with you that the Montalvo Community Council are looking for 2 members at large. So if you live in District 6, they are looking for 2 members at large. Tomorrow we have a Ventura Housing meeting, what used to be called the Housing Authority. Now it's called Ventura Housing, tomorrow at 3 p.m. And we also did today, we had a groundbreaking ceremony at Olivas Park for the Olivas Park Drive extension and levee. So today we put shovels in the ground and it was a wonderful, wonderful ceremony. And lastly, I wanted to let everybody know that at Plaza Park this Saturday from 11 to 3, there is a overdose awareness event with booths and speakers. And it is, if you've ever had anybody that dealt with addiction or overdose or drugs, it's a wonderful place. There's resources that are going to be offered. And once again, that's this Saturday at Plaza Park from 11 to 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Halter?
Great, thank you, Madam Mayor. And just a couple of things is that we had our Housing Committee subcommittee meeting a couple of days ago. And our next one would be a special meeting on September 30th, so that's a ways out. There's Councilmember Mangone and myself sit on the VCREA, the Reliable Energy board. And just want to say that there's a lot of funds available for making your house more efficient or your business more efficient, energy efficient. So definitely look up their website, and you can find out more information about that. That was all news to me and a great presentation. I'm sorry I couldn't attend the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. I definitely wanted to see that and support the Land Trust. I was tied up a little bit with Rubicon's doing the end of summer, 31 productions in 30 days. So every single night for the next 28 days left, Rubicon will be doing a special production. Most of them are concerts with well-known award-winning people. And finally is Economic Development meeting is Thursday. That's the subcommittee at 3:30. And, tomorrow night, I'll be speaking at the College Community Council meeting. It's on Zoom at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Campos?
Thank you, Mayor. This week, on the 29th, we will actually have the first meeting, long awaited, of the Council Climate Subcommittee, Environmental Sustainability Subcommittee. And I know I've gotten a lot of emails saying, when are you going to start? When are you going to start? So I hope everybody will show up and fill the room. It's 11:30 a.m. start time on the 29th to 12 or 12:30. First meeting may have a long agenda. I attended the board meeting of the Museum of Ventura County a week and a half ago, and they've got a lot of changes coming up over the next year, so watch their website. There's always good new exhibits going on, but they're doing some other things with the library and collections that may interest the community. And I think for tonight, that's it. Oh, wait, one more. Westside Community Council meets the first Wednesday of September. Everybody's welcome to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have? I'll just make a quick reminder comment about the State of the City coming up before, because I think this is our last meeting for this month, right? Yes. So the next time you see us, it'll happen the next day. So just a quick reminder, September 17th, and it's a little bit different this year. We're going to have a resource fair held at City Hall. From 4 to 6, we'll have the resource fair information, touch a truck for kids of all sizes, and then the State of the City address will be at 6 o'clock. So invite all of you to attend. It should be fun and something great to look forward to. And with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to City Manager for any City Manager communications.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I have just a few. Just as a reminder, if you are regular tuning into the council meetings, the 9/11 stair climb, hosted by the Ventura Honor Guard, is just 11 days away. It's taking place on Sunday, September 7th at 8 a.m., and that's at the Crown Plaza at our beautiful promenade along the beach. Participants will climb the equivalent of 110 stories, symbolizing the height of the Twin Towers and to honor those lost on September 11th. Space is limited, but spots are still available. Proceeds support the Honor Guard's mission to honor the fallen. You can learn more on the city's website about that. Thank you, Mayor, for mentioning the State of the City. That is going to be a fun time. I am really excited to announce long-awaited improvements to the public parking area at the north side of the pedestrian overpass from the pier to Ash and Front Street. There was improvements required with the coastline development, and that's the kind of new oceanfront condominiums and apartments along the north side of the freeway between San Juan and Ash. The improvements are to make access to the parking area, improvements to the parking area, and ADA access across the railroad tracks there more accessible to the public. And so that is a 3-month project. If you do enjoy that pedestrian overpassing, it will be difficult to cross, it'll be impossible to cross the railroad tracks at Ash Street. You can use the overpass still. You would have to cut through the coastline community itself to do that. So we encourage you to plan accordingly. That will take place after the Labor Day weekend on September 8th. And we have our coastal cleanup on September 20th. We encourage you to join the 41st Annual Ventura County Coastal Cleanup Day. This is the largest event in California dedicated to protecting our coast and communities. Cleanup sites will be located across Ventura County and in the city at State Beach, Marina Park, and Ventura Harbor. You can learn more and register to participate at vccoastcleanup.org. And as the mayor mentioned, our next meeting will be on September 16th, and followed by a meeting on September 23rd. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the public communications portion of the meeting. And this portion of the meeting is where members of the public may speak on any city-related topics that are not listed on tonight's agenda. Please note that under the Brown Act, the City Council cannot discuss, deliberate, or take actions on items that are raised during the public communications. And as a reminder, we ask everyone to please help maintain decorum so that all attendees feel comfortable participating in the meeting. To show your support in an inclusive and respectful way, you're welcome to use the American Sign Language sign for applause by raising your hands and gently twisting your wrists. The initial public communications period is limited to 20 speakers with a second comment period at the end of the meeting. If you wish to speak, please submit your speaker card now, electronically, I believe, and just ensure that we have, so that we can ensure that we have an accurate count. Mr. City Clerk, how many speakers do we have for tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. We have 6 speakers for general public comment.
Thank you, and because there are 10 or fewer speakers, each speaker will get 3 minutes. I will open the public comment now.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first speaker this evening is Glenn Overly, followed by Charmaine, Giovanna, Tyreek, Isaac, and George Amendola.
I want to discuss last week's Port Commission selection process. I reviewed the July 1st policy consideration video, and it is clear that Council did not authorize the mayor to create a new unapproved process for the selection of port commissioners. Under the home rule concept, our city charter trumps the municipal code. So even though there is no specific language in the municipal code about the Port Commission, Charter Section 1303 gives Council the right to appoint members of the Port District Governing Board. Based upon past practices, Council has used the ARC process to select port commissioners. Matt Levere, Eric Nazarenko, Christy Weir, and even Jeanette served on ARC that made recommendations to the Council for port commissioners. Under the ARC process, once discussed and approved by Council, the mayor appoints the port commissioners at an open meeting. The Harbor and Navigation Code, Section 6241.1, in summary says that Ventura Port Commissioners will be a 5-member body appointed by the mayor with council approval. What is not included is the process for the appointment. Is it an application required? Is an interview required? Does any of this have to be public? A lot of unanswered questions. On its face, the new unapproved process appears to be in conflict with the minimum requirements of the Brown Act, which focuses on public meetings for transparency. It is abundantly clear that our current ARC process and 6241.1 require council approval before the completion of the appointment. There's no conflict between the charter and the state law. The fact that there's no mention of the Port Commission and the municipal code is a moot point. Why, after multiple years of success with the ARC process, are we changing it? Why would we want to rely upon Section 6241.1 as a justification to allow the current mayor to secretly meet with the harbor manager to discuss and select port commissioners without an actual process that has been discussed and agreed upon by all council members? To have a single elected official without prior council approval make a decision in a private selection process without any established rules or guidelines is the definition of ludicrous. The Brown Act specifically prevents this type of backroom deal-making, while Section 6241.1 seems to encourage it. One other issue of concern is the potential conflict of interest stated by the mayor in reference to applicant Bravo. Was he given a fair shake, or did his employment with the county eliminate his opportunity to serve as a Ventura Port Commissioner? This is what this new unapproved process creates. Thank you.
Charmaine, followed by Giovanna.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, City Manager. I'd like to take this time to applaud Councilman Duran for introducing the Public Safety Burden Equity and Reentry Partnership Policy. I'd also like to recognize Chief Dickey for his collaboration in this effort. This policy exemplifies the good that's possible when leaders unite their creativity, vision, and genuine care for the community they serve to achieve a common goal. It's an example of the fine leadership we have been hoping for. What I appreciate most about this policy is that it may benefit everyone in Ventura. It's popular now to place the needs of the few over the many, to give preference to the rights of the individual, even at the expense of the whole. But this approach has only further divided us. I know of families who are disconnected now simply because they can't find common ground on many of the issues before us today. Even in conversations with my own family members, I must avoid certain topics in order to preserve peace. PSBERP is so refreshing to me because it reminds me that there are still issues that we all can agree on. If community leaders such as yourselves craft policies that address such issues, we have a chance of bringing Ventura back to its pre-COVID state. Public safety is an issue that resonates with everyone, and it's addressed exceptionally well in this policy. Since the start of COVID, I've noticed a significant increase in litter in public spaces, and I often encounter people who aren't in their right minds yelling obscenities from grocery store parking lots or endangering themselves and others by stepping into traffic. Just last week, while I was driving past the government center, a pedestrian entered the crosswalk with complete disregard for the red light and oncoming traffic. To further illustrate my point, the only car accident I've ever been in took place at the freeway entrance across from Chuck E. Cheese on Telephone Road. As I attempted to merge onto the 101 South, the man crossed the street against the light. In order to avoid hitting him, I had to stop abruptly, which caused the car behind me to rear-end my vehicle. The other driver and I were left to deal with the consequences while he just walked off into the sunset. I believe that PSBERP will reduce the frequency of such incidents in Ventura, and I'm grateful for that. Unfortunately, the experiences I shared aren't unique to Ventura. Less than 2 years ago, I was on a Teams call with coworkers throughout the state in Redding, Brentwood, Hayward, San Jose, and Santa Maria. They all shared similar testimonies. Wouldn't it be something remarkable if this council became an inspiration, an example for other cities where residents have experienced the diminished quality of life since COVID? I believe it's possible if you follow Councilman Duran's lead and bring forth policies in the same spirit of collaboration as the PSBERP and with the same intent, to serve the community by creating solutions to the common challenges faced by all residents. Thank you.
Next speaker is Giovanna, followed by Tyreek.
Hello and good evening, Mayor Sanchez Palacios, City Council members, and community leaders. My name is Giovanna, and I serve as president of the Black Student Union at Moore Park. While I am here, I'm not directly representing the college, but I just speak as a student leader and as a voice for young Black people across the city and county who are actually deeply hurting right now. On August 1st, 2025, 18-year-old Michael Earl Robinson was violently assaulted in the Regal Cinemas parking lot in Simi Valley. He was chased, cornered, and beaten by a group of teenagers. And he left that night with a lot of injuries, but the deepest wounds are the ones that we cannot see. During the attack, racial slurs were used. The Simi Valley PD confirmed this in their official statement and forwarded the case to Ventura County District Attorney for possible hate crimes. Mayor Kavanaugh has also publicly condemned this violence and saying that Simi Valley doesn't tolerate these acts of hate. We acknowledge these words, however, but we stand before you to say that words are not enough. What Michael and his family need are visible, accountable action. Because for Michael, the pain continues. There were violent things said on Snapchat, death threats, on social media, adults excuse violence, and an assailant even posted the video standing on top of a police car. mocking accountability. Ventura County has long prided itself on its core values: service, integrity, equity, inclusion, safety, and growth. So tonight, on behalf of the peers in my community, we ask for 5 clear steps. We ask for a public acknowledgement of this racial harm. We ask for a transparent, independent investigation from Michael Earl Robinson. We ask for support for Michael Robinson and Black youth in Ventura County, an investment in youth and anti-hate education, as well as structural reform and unity. Representation matters. Ventura County has to recruit and hire more Black professionals across law enforcement, education, mental health, and leadership roles. We should have dinners. We should be able to sit down face to face. And so Michael survived that night, but survival is not enough. He deserves justice, he deserves safety, and he deserves to know that his county, his leaders, and his community stand with him. Imagine what it's like being a young Black person in this city, being scared to go outside, being scared to hang out with friends. It's not okay, and so silence is complicity, and we're all watching you. Thank you.
Tyreek, followed by Isaac, followed by George Amendola.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Tyreek Henderson, and I have been a resident of Ventura County and a proud Marine Corps veteran. I've moved here from downtown Los Angeles about a year and a half ago. And as a Black man, I have been both positive and difficult experiences here that I feel are important to share with you. When I was at work, I have faced challenges that raised concerns for me. I was accused of things that were not true and eventually lost my job because of those accusations. Before leaving, I also suffered an injury while I was working. And these events have shown me how important it is to have fair treatment and safety in workplaces. Adjusting to Ventura County has also been a cultural change. While I value the quietness and the safety this community has, it has been hard to feel welcomed. The city has close-knit feelings, which can be positive, but it can also make newcomers feel left out. This has made me question whether this is the right place to raise a family in the future. I also want to highlight the need for justice in the case that affects our community deeply, such as the case of Michael Robinson. His story is a reminder that accountability and fairness must remain priorities for our leaders, because situations shape the trust residents have in their cities and its institutions. I respectfully ask the City Council to take immediate and decisive action to ensure Ventura County is a place where everyone feels safe, and respected and included. Put yourself in our shoes. What is it like to go to work, to go to school, or spend time with our friends outside while not always feeling accepted? We are concerned about our future, and we are asking for real action to make and take place in this country. Thank you. That is all.
Hello, Mayor. My name is Isaac Rockmore. I'm also the treasurer president of Black Student Union at Moore Park College. I just wanted to give you guys some feedback on the situation that happened August 1st on a Friday. In June, I had graduated 2 seats from behind Michael Robinson, and then 2 months later, I look on Instagram and I see the person I graduated next to being attacked by white people. Also, I wanted to get back and say that you guys are like the big name of the SoCal, and our city council heard us, and we wanted to make sure you guys had a turn too. I work in the Simi Town Center, where I'm sure if you guys are aware, people spray painted racist on the Simi Town Center sign. At public events, there has been awful people who drive giant trucks, racist views of Confederate flags. That's something that's not what we want to see. And as a black person, and everyone literally knows my name in the town center, how do I know I'm not being targeted by doing this? How do I know I'm not being targeted by speaking about what happened on August 1st? Another thing I wanted to talk about is the video took only 20 minutes, and it didn't only reach 805 area, it reached other areas, not even just Ventura, it reached everywhere. The news got involved with it, and as a black person with black siblings, I find it kind of scary to go out, have fun, knowing that this situation happened. And I know that we could do better as a community. Yes, the drive here was a little rocky, but we had to do what needed to be done and say what needed to be said. Thank you.
Next speaker is George Amendola.
Hi, good evening, Council. Last night I attended the Water Commission meeting, and I have to say my feelings are reaffirmed that the Water Commission is useless. And I stand by my resignation letter of how that commission is run. The bottom line is, for the second time last night, I requested the commission take up water emergency preparedness for fire. And I don't think they took my second request serious. The bottom line is there may have been on the margins of a Brown Act violation. The chairman asked if staff had any comments. The general manager gave a unprepared report in 2 minutes to address the issue. The chairman then said he was speaking with Steve Bennett about some legislative action. So I'd urge the council to take this subject matter up and put it at the forefront, as we're now at the beginning stages of fire season. And the Thomas fire, the impact of that still lingers on our community. Every time the winds come up, I hear how stressed people are. They're wondering if city services are prepared. The bottom line, from my perspective, big organizations have sicknesses that exist within departments. Departments typically don't like to talk to one another. They don't like other departments stepping on their toes. There is a cohesive management issue that takes place within the fire department, relying on water preparedness. We know that with the outage from Southern California Edison, there was a knee-jerk reaction years back to put in emergency generators to support water. The public needs to see these assessments that the water department is prepared. The council needs to see assessments that the water department is prepared. We have no visibility into any of these assessments. We don't even know if the fire department is able to access assessments and preparedness reports from the water department. The Water Commission will not take it up. So I'm asking council to take it up and address this issue as a priority. Thank you very much.
And our final speaker is Carlos.
Good evening, City Council. Long time no talk. How's it going? Hope you guys are good. Hey. So I actually just started back to engineering school right here at Ventura College, and super fun, very convenient. So thanks for being here. Anyways, I wanted to kind of reflect on this gentleman's testimony out here a little bit. As a person of color growing up in Ventura, I could also attest that there is differences of the way that I'm treated on the daily. And I've dated, white women before, and they recognize it as well. Merely down to walking into a room or a front desk person, how they treat you. It's very typical. I'll be ignored or not taken seriously. And I really do feel like it's because of the color of my skin. And if it's not that, maybe it's because I'm neurodivergent. I don't know. But I'm just here to say that this outburst, this show of disgusting racism that we all saw, that's a symptom to an underlying problem. And in particular, I've felt this type of discrimination in the nonprofit space, where leaders will, like, if you have great ideas, if you can outperform certain executives, they will hold you back. They will misrepresent you. They will not allow you to give your points in the boardroom. So look around at all the different board of directors at all the nonprofits and all these public agencies that we have, and how many of them are people of color. That's scary. You go to LA, they got millennials, they got young people, they got brown people, they got people of all different shapes and sizes, diversity in the executive spaces, in the boardrooms. Why? Because they know that diversity brings strength. We all have different insights, different skills to bring to the mix. In Ventura, we tend to be pretty tight-knit. We tend to be very much, there's a lot of nepotism, in the executive space. And we need to address that. We need to call that out. We need to look at that and consider that and think about that. So if you have friends that are in executive spaces and board members or what have you, please invite them to make an extra effort to invite the people of color in our community in their space. There should be no board meetings that are close to the public. That's my opinion, especially for nonprofits, because it's public funds. It's our tax money that getting the benefit personally, and they should have complete transparency of all their budgets and everything. And that's what I'm advocating for. That's what I'm exemplifying with my nonprofit. So thank you very much for your time.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you for that. Mr. City Manager, any follow-up to public comment?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a comment related to the preparedness for fire weather. We of course get notices of high fire possibility, weather driven by Santa Ana winds, dry conditions of fuel, moisture, and so forth. The city has taken proactive steps to ensure preparedness of our forces that battle fires in the community, but also the infrastructure that provides the support for battling the wildfires, especially our water systems. I welcome any questions to be forwarded directly to me, city manager at cityofventura.ca.gov. I'm happy to follow up on those and make clear what preparations that we have in place that are really leading edge and probably the impetus behind the legislation that Assemblymember Bennett is working on currently. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate those remarks. Moving on to our consent items on our agenda. We have 13 consent items on tonight's agenda. And before we proceed, I just want to make sure, are there any questions, comments, no votes, or requests to pull any of the items under consent? Councilmember McReynolds?
Yes, I'd like to request to pull item 6.
Okay. Okay. Deputy Mayor Halter?
I have a question on item 4 and a question on item 6, or a comment on item 6 and a comment on item 9.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, and I'll be, I know there's a question on item 4. I'll be pulling 4. Okay, and so with that, I'm always like, oh my gosh, we have so many. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hear any public comment for any of the items that we're not pulling or having questions on. Yeah?
Thank you, Mayor. There's no public comment on consent items.
Okay. Thank you. So then we'll go to item 4.
Mayor, we could entertain a motion on the items excluding item 4 and 6 first.
And there's question on 9 as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay,
right.
so
Thank you.
we'll go ahead and entertain 1, 2, 3.
And we can actually do the questions on 9 first if you'd like. And then
Do the
if it's
questions
not
on
being
9?
pulled, yeah.
Okay.
So questions
So
on
why don't we
9,
go
then we'll
on
do 4 and 6
question
separate.
9? Deputy Mayor Halter, you had a question on 9.
Yeah, actually, it's more of a comment and question, and it's just that with the Hall Canyon parking and the entrance to the land trust, just making sure that, I'm not sure what sort of investigation and plans have been made for the fact that a lot of trucks, vehicles still go up behind those hills. I trust with all the good work at the land trust that that's being considered or has been considered, but I just want to make sure that we have the utmost.
Deputy Mayor, sorry, that's item 6. We were going to do item 9.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, sorry. Okay,
Okay.
so I won't repeat that.
No.
Just keep that in mind for item 6, okay?
It's just like, wait, what?
On item 6, I absolutely support the concept of the on-call construction services. I just want to see if we could possibly dig deeper into the possibility of using, maybe working with the community councils and identifying some of the most severe sidewalk conditions in each one of those community council areas. And then maybe looking at a way to work with even local contractors and see if we could get even greater bang for the buck by using local contractors and working out a program. Maybe it's a work month that people get together and try to fix as many sidewalks as we possibly can. So I think we have to really do a lot to continue to beautify and improve our environment, make it safer, make it more maintained and manageable, and more beautiful. So just my comment.
Okay.
Was that item 9 or item 6, Mayor?
That was 9.
9, thank you.
Yes. Okay, and so with that, we'll go ahead and make a motion on all items except 4 and 6 at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve consent items, all except 4 and 6 for now.
Okay, on the motion, Councilmember Duran?
Yes.
Councilmember McReynolds?
Yes.
Councilmember Mongonay?
Yes.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Yes.
Councilmember Campos?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Halter?
Yes.
Mayor Dr. Sanchez Palacios?
Yes.
7 ayes, and the motion carries.
Thank you. So we'll go to item number 4. And Deputy Mayor Halter, you also had that one?
Yeah. From my understanding, there was, I believe, 2 applicants. I'm not sure if there was only one that was actually interviewed. The concern I have more than anything is I know, obviously, people know my profession is landscaping. I also know how important it is to have that sort of knowledge on a design review board, because I got to tell you, there's so much more that you could do to enhance the beauty and the quality of a project by that landscape perspective. And I really wish that we had more applicants so that we could have had that option to get somebody on that committee to recommend changes and improvements to make a project even better from a landscape standpoint.
Thank you for that. And for me, that's one of the reasons why I'm pulling this item. I'd like to know, because there were only 2 applications received and only 2 interviewed, can we leave it open so that we can receive more, maybe do a second round of recruitment and get more applications received for the DRC?
Mayor, I think if, I don't know the specific answer, whether procedurally it could remain open, but assuming that were the case, I think the council could move all but that item, and then I think staff would have enough information to move forward, and I'll leave it to the clerk, I think, if they could, if there's any issue with keeping that open, and staff can just proceed on its own terms.
Yeah,
So
thank
that's
you for
okay.
that, Mayor. That I would concur with the city attorney. We could reopen a recruitment period.
So I would then make that recommendation for this item, that we keep the DRC open for further recruitment while approving the others.
And I would second that. I was named chair of the ARC, and it's sometimes very disappointing when we don't have enough applicants. And we may need to adjust our protocol to state that if we're uncomfortable with the few applicants we have, that they can be set aside for more recruitment.
Okay.
I also would encourage any community council leaders in the room to talk about these commissions and committees at every meeting and encourage people to apply. And thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So I'll move to have that, and you second it.
Yes.
Councilmember Campos. And Councilmember McReynolds?
Yeah, I know we're looking at the entire appointment process as part of that committee, so we can put that as part of that,
Part of the assignment?
part of the assignment, if council so
Okay.
pleases.
Yeah.
And Mayor, to clarify, there's an ad hoc committee.
The ad hoc, yeah.
Not ARC itself, there's an ad hoc committee looking at the
Correct.
process separately.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. And yeah, that should be included. Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to, well, we also have 6. So should I go on to 6, or do we vote on this one?
We can do 4 separate,
Okay.
and there's no public comment on item 4. And
Thank
so,
you.
Mayor, just to restate the motion, then it's to approve the recommendation aside from recommendation A, and to direct staff to reopen recruitment for the DRC, the Design Review Committee.
Yes, thank you. Oh, Councilmember Mangone?
I just want the motion to be specific that we're, and the open recruitment is looking for a landscape professional, because that's the intent behind it, so.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, on the motion, Councilmember Duran,
Yes.
Councilmember McReynolds,
Yes.
Councilmember Mangone,
Yes.
Councilmember Schumacher,
Yes.
Councilmember Campos. Is a yes. Deputy Mayor Halter?
Yes.
Yes. Mayor Dr. Sanchez Palacios?
Yes,
7 ayes, and the motion carries.
thank you. Moving on to item number 6, Deputy Mayor. I'm sorry? So everyone else got appointed under that except for A right now.
That is correct, Mayor, and typically after the adoption of the consent calendar, we
Then
invite
we'll
folks
hand
up.
it over
So-
to the chair.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to do that now, or we can take item 6
I
first.
want to do that now. Sorry.
I think it's better to finish item 6.
Okay, great.
Before we move away from consent.
Okay. So item number 6, Deputy Mayor Halter?
I won't repeat everything I said erroneously on item number 9. Just to say that the main point on it is just that for everyone to be aware that there's still a lot of trucks that go up behind where the land trust will be having their entrance in the parking. And I'm sure that all that's taken into account, knowing all the people that's doing such good work at the land trust, that's taken into consideration. But for those of us that's visiting, just know that there's a lot of trucks that do go up behind those hillsides through that same entrance. That's my only point.
So that was, okay. So we can go ahead and, Councilmember McReynolds?
Yeah, sorry, I was the one that pulled item 6.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. No, I did review the letter that we received from Manat, from the Era Energy. I would just recommend that we actually table this item until we can actually have that conversation. Manat is not a fly-by-night law firm. It's, typically you're talking about a $1,200 an hour lawyer. So I really think we should have a sit-down, with the city, the land trust, Era, to make sure we actually understand, the questions that Deputy Mayor Halter brought forward on it before moving on this. So my motion would actually be to table this until that item is taken up for a full discussion.
Okay, so the motion is to table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Yeah, Councilmember Schumacher.
I'd just like to ask the city manager or even the director, is there a time frame that we need to approve this sooner than later, or are we able to table it?
Thank you, Councilmember Schumacher. This is administrative largely, and there's not an urgency, so there's time to review it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so I'll go ahead and call the vote for item number 6, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and there is no public comment on item number 6. On the motion, Councilmember Duran?
Yes.
Councilmember McReynolds?
Yes.
Councilmember Mongonay?
Yes.
Schumacher?
Yes?
Campos?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Halter?
Yes.
Mayor Dr. Sanchez Palacios?
Yes,
7 ayes, and the motion carries.
thank you. So now Councilmember Campos, as the chair of the ARC Committee, please go ahead and present your appointment certificates.
So I have certificates here. Do you have a handheld mic?
I do, yes.
Thank you. So the following people were appointed by ARC, and I will read your name, and you can come, if you're in the room, and get a certificate from Clerk McDonald. Shannon Welsh for Historic Preservation Committee is not in attendance. I apologize. Diane Karnitsky for the Arts and Culture Commission. Please come forward if you're here. Karen Kitchell for the Arts and Culture Commission. Anthony Miller for Parks and Rec Commission. Jeff Kowalishen for the Measure O Oversight Committee. David Swan for the Measure O Oversight Committee. And Paul Meehan, reappointed to the Ventura County Air Pollution Control District Advisory Committee. Thank you, and anyone who wants a picture, grab it now. Yeah.
Congratulations, and thank you all for serving.
Thank you, Mayor, for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, we will go ahead and move on to our formal agenda item, and that is to the explore funding options and methodology for funding future identified budgetary needs. We have our staff who will give us a presentation. as soon as you're ready. It's all
Okay,
yours.
good evening, Honorable Mayor Sanchez Palacios, Deputy Mayor Halter, and other members of the City Council. I'm Greg Morley, Chief Financial Officer. I have with me Ms. Connie Servin, who is one of the Senior Financial Analysts from the Department of Finance, and one of our partners from Stiefel Public Finance, Managing Director Sarah Oberlees Brown. We're going to talk about exploring options for funding future budgetary needs. We were before the City Council on April 22nd, and we had a presentation about that. At that meeting, City Council asked us to provide some examples of some specific projects that were in mind and to also maybe come up with some projects of our own. So we've got a couple of different funding options related to some of the projects that the City Council asked about and some that we came up with on our own. So next slide, please. So we did this at the beginning in April, and I'm going to just go over it again. So the municipal bond process. So there's really kind of 4 steps. 1, an investor gives a loan to a governmental agency. Number 2, the investor receives a municipal bond. The City of Ventura will issue a municipal bond to that investor in return for the loan that they've given to us. Number 3, the loan is used to fund public works. And when we say public works, we mean infrastructure. And then number 4, the government uses funds such as property taxes to repay the investor with the interest. Next slide. So we did this in April too, but I'm going to go over this again. And specifically on this slide, I want to talk about the first 2 columns here. And what this is just the types of financing tools, some of the types of financing tools that we have available to us, and what kind of revenue, who pays for it, what the voting requirements are on typical projects. So the first one is a general obligation bond. The general obligation bond is supported by revenue from additional ad valorem property tax. Who pays for it? All property taxes within the jurisdiction of the governmental entity that's issuing the bonds. What's the voting requirement? 2/3 vote of the registered voters of that jurisdiction. And then typical types of projects are capital projects benefiting the city at large. When I say benefiting the city at large, I mean what that means is that most of the citizens of our city are going to benefit from this project. And then specific public safety or community objectives. And then I want to talk about the lease revenue bond, which is a little bit like the general obligation bond. It's just that the sources for refunding it is different. So with that, the pledged revenue is general fund, and that's sales tax, hotel tax, taxes like that. Who pays for it? Well, everybody pays for it. The difference between this and the general obligation bond, and this is a point that I wanted to make between these two, is with a lease revenue bond with a sales tax or a hotel tax or some tax like that, it's not borne 100% by the residents of that jurisdiction like a general obligation bond is. It's borne by everybody that enjoys our jurisdiction. So for example, I don't know the percentages to be exact, but if you talked about sales tax, who pays for sales tax in the city of Ventura? Well, all of us that live in Ventura do, but what about all the tourists that visit our community? So when you talk about using sales tax to repay a bond, maybe as much as 20 or 30% of that sales tax, additional sales tax to repay a bond, doesn't come directly from our residents like a general obligation bond does. And then the voting requirement for that, again, it's 50% plus 1. And then it's used for general infrastructure necessary for the city or to perform important city functions. And then, the other types are mellows, or assessment districts, and then enhanced infrastructure financing bonds. Next slide, please. So when we were here before, the City Council gave us a couple of projects to bring up for examination, and then we also came up with a couple of our own. I think the City Council asked us about the fire station replacement, West Side Pool, Ventura finishing out Ventura Community Park. And then another couple that were there was the City Council asked us to explore the senior center over on the adult center, and we looked into the CIP plan for the next several years, and the only project that we saw in the CIP plan that was unfunded was an HVAC replacement. Estimated cost of that was, about $300,000. We have a restricted reserve already set aside for repairs or improvements to the adult center over there, so we didn't use that in our example because we can do those repairs with money that we already have on hand. And then another one was the new parking structure. As you know, back in November of 2023, there was a presentation made to this council about a couple of things, but one of them was potential new parking structure here in the city of Ventura, and during that, there was a presentation where they talked about what the cost of that would be and how to determine what the funding for the debt service related to that was, and a lot of it, more than half of it, was related to plans that we're making in the Ventura Parking Authority. So we left that off of here because we didn't want to try to commingle some of that plan, which is ongoing, with this, and not be able to specifically identify funding for either way. And then we threw in a couple of these things, the corporate yard replacement we threw in, and then a replacement of police fire headquarters. We also added a contingency. It's pretty much general knowledge that a lot of these CIP projects carry something like a 10% contingency, so we have a contingency here. So we've got $242 million in projects and a $26 million contingency. We're right at about $290 million. Next slide, please. And then, so this is, I talked about the different funding methods a while ago. So we got these kind of cones where we put some of these things. And I talked about those two major types of funding opportunities that we have. And so the general obligation bond, we put the police fire headquarters, fire stations, and the build out of community park, because those are projects that more benefit the community at large than some of the other projects do. So they would be a good candidate for general obligation bonds. And then for lease revenue bond, we added the corporate yard and the West Side Pool project. The next slide, I'm going to turn this over to our partner from Stiefel Public Finance, Ms. Sarah Oberlies-Brown.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. As Greg mentioned, I'm Sarah Brown with the firm Stiefel Nicholas. We've been working with Greg and his staff to evaluate the financing tools that are available to cities to fund major capital infrastructure like he's just previously described, and really to take that need, whether it be $290 million, $242 million, or whatever number you end up there as the idealized or prioritized projects, and translate that number down into annual debt service and ultimately into the cost on either property owners going the general obligation route or on consumers in the city going the sales tax route. Okay. So again, to recap, the type of improvements that Greg has previously described can be financed through either one of the tools that he previously mentioned: general obligation bonds and general fund lease financings. Those are the two most common financing tools for California cities. The tools really differ in their sources of repayment. General obligation bonds are paid from property taxes as an additional tax above and beyond the standard 1% ad valorem tax that all property pays. There is one tax rate applied to the assessed value. So uniformly, consistently across $1 of property values, there's a single tax rate. That means then, therefore, that the burden is more weighted towards higher assessed value properties. You know, two homes sitting next to each other, one that's on the tax roll at $400,000 $400,000 of assessed value is going to pay half as much as a property sitting next door that's on the tax roll at $800,000 of assessed value. The second one, again, lease revenue bonds, and as Greg mentioned, that's an obligation of the general fund, and any of the city's general tax sources are used to pay for it. For purposes of our discussion, we've talked about an additional sales tax measure that would be directed towards these kinds of capital improvements. You go to next slide. Again, because general obligation bonds are a function of the assessed value on property taxes, the rate of growth of the city's assessed value impacts the ultimate tax rate on property owners. As you can see here, over the last 20 years, the city's assessed value has gone from about $9.6 billion to $22.7 billion. So that's a growth rate in that period of time of over 4%. For purposes of the analysis that I will get into, we've taken a more conservative approach and assumed a 3% just for purposes of our discussion tonight. The next. So again, I could generate 24 scenarios and still not have really touched upon the different ways that these general obligation bonds can be structured. This is really just meant to just give you kind of a lay of the land on how we've been looking at it, and certainly based on your all's discussion and conversations with Greg and city managers and others can come back to us and ask for different evaluations. Here, for illustrative purposes, we've assumed that the $242 million of kind of community-wide projects are funded through a general obligation bond financing program. We have additionally assumed that the bonds are sold in 3 series, kind of understanding that it's hard to tackle $242 million in one sitting, and we've assumed that those bonds are issued 3 years apart. In this scenario, we've assumed that the bond debt service, when you stack it on top of each other over those 3 series, is level, approximately level. And so that $242 million in current market interest rates is about $12 million per year in annual debt service. And so if you're holding the debt service level and dividing it by an increasing assessed value, which again that we've assumed is increasing at 3% to be conservative relative to the 4% historical average, that tax rate on a property owner declines over time. You can see that's sort of illustrated here with that decline from an annual tax of about $51 per $100,000 of assessed value declining down. And you can see here that it averages around $37 per over the life of that 36-year bond program. So what does that mean for the average homeowner in the city of Ventura? Well, based on the city's current assessed values, the average single-family detached property is on the roll at $542,000. So the average tax would be approximately $173 per homeowner per year over that period of time. Again, just averages. The next slide, we take the same scenarios and just look at what if we structured the bonds with an escalation of 3% to match our escalation assumed in the assessed value. And here it shows that we were able, if the goal were to target a specific tax rate per $100,000, this is how we would structure it. And as you can see here, the average is around $35 per $100,000 of assessed value. And again, the average homeowner pays around $180, $190 per year over the 36-year bond program. Thank you. Here we've just summarized both scenarios, and again, these are really meant for illustrative purposes. Can run any number of scenarios for you and show you kind of the high, the low, the average tax rate per parcel. Okay, next slide. Finally, just kind of go back to that same $242 million and the notion that the capital improvements that have been identified have really could be funded by either the general obligation bond or a general fund lease. And here we've looked at what a half-cent sales tax measure could generate. And I understand that it's anticipated that the Measure O, which is also a half-cent sales tax, generates around $18.5 million per year. We've done a little conservative and said $17 million and shown it growing over time at 2% per year. And again, the same $242 million debt service, which is in the lighter orange color, is shown at just about $16.5 million per year annually over that time period. So you can see that the sales tax measure would support that amount of bonds. And additionally, we layered on top the $48 million of additional improvements, the corporate yard and the West Side Pool. Both of those with some escalation over time could be supported by the sales tax measure. One key difference between general obligation bonds and sales tax bonds, general obligation bonds and those revenues from the property tax can really only be used on the actual capital improvements. They're not able to be used for operations and additional costs that might be associated with building this kind of infrastructure. So at times, communities look to combine the two, one more for the capital and one more for operations. But again, as we've shown here, there is some growth. With some growth, there, it all fits underneath the cap. So finally, at a time when council chooses to pursue one of these, or if you choose to pursue one of these paths, you might ask, well, Greg, what's the first step? And certainly there's no, one way for communities to tackle these kinds of large capital improvement programs. What we've seen with most of our clients is that it often begins with some type of public forums, even public surveys to ascertain their sensitivities to which types of projects are prioritized. The level of tax, is $35 too much, but $25 is acceptable. Those kinds of things can all happen with the goal of getting, moving towards a election of your choosing. Obviously with the next big one being November of 2026. And with that, I think I'll turn it back to Greg.
Okay, so you've all read that disclosure, so we'll go to the next slide. Okay, so the City Council strategic priority here is the priority of infrastructure and the focus area of continue to maintain and improve the conditions of roads, water, storm drains, parks, municipal facilities, and Main Street moves infrastructure. Next slide. And our recommendation tonight is just to receive and file the report. Drive on.
Great, thank you for that. Council, any questions or introductory remark? Deputy Mayor Halter?
Great, thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, staff, for a very interesting and thorough report. Naive question, do we have bonds out right now?
We do have some bonds out right now. We don't have very much debt on our books right now, but we have a couple of bonds related to water infrastructure, and then one refunding bond that's related to some general bonds that were issued going all the way back to the 70s. Those bonds are projected to be defeased or paid off by the year 2032.
Okay, and would either of those be general obligation bonds or the lease revenue?
Neither of them is a general obligation bond. The refunding bond that I talked about is a certificate of participation.
Okay, and let's see. A question on when you do taxation based upon valuation of property, I know the challenge, especially with Prop 13, is the new buyers, people just buying in their first home. So a lot of younger people, usually nowadays it's probably anybody under 50. But in the same token, is there such a mechanism to look at a possibility of by parcel or differences between residential and commercial? Is there a mechanism that supports that? I'm just thinking out of the box, thinking of some of the pros and cons and inequities of by valuation.
The answer is
no.
Yes and no. Not very easily. So there are various types of bond issues. There are ones that are parcel taxes that can apply to only one type of property, but those are hard to apply across a large area. Those are usually limited to smaller areas if you're doing something that's more specific.
Like a Melrose then or something
Yeah,
like that.
more like a Melrose. Yes, exactly. So, but you're right. That it is, I guess the flip side is that people that have been in their house longer and have a lower assessed value, potentially older, might be paying less for the.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing in that scenario, but I also look at our biggest problem in California, and that we've all agreed is that highest priority here is housing affordability. And you don't make housing more affordable by adding more taxes and more fees to simply owning your home or building that home. So I'm cognizant of that, what we're encouraging and discouraging from happening. Yet the concept of getting ahead and using today's dollars and the benefits of not paying the higher costs for some of these projects, if we start looking at each project and the possibility of savings, I think that's a much more palatable thing to look at and could be exciting. And finally, would be a concern with, I'm not sure we could ever catch up on our infrastructure with roads and sidewalks. I believe that, as I see looks in the audience, we have a huge lift with 25 or 30 years of really Band-Aiding these old roads and stuff. And we're doing the best we can, as we've done each year here as a council, add more and more money. But we're raising that bar to a certain level and saying we're going to fund it through this mechanism. We could still move these concepts around, right? Because the number one thing I hear about out there, as we mentioned earlier tonight, is the condition of sidewalks, the condition of the streets, and we all want them to be as perfect as some of the communities around us, like Camarillo, which is a much newer city, so they have less challenge there. But how do we get to that level and sustain that level? And I think that would be something that would be interesting to analyze. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Halter. Any other questions? Councilmember McReynolds, followed by Councilmember Duran.
Thank you. What is our typical property tax rate right now for property in Ventura, on average? Like 1.25, 1?
No, it's so the property tax rate is 1%?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So,
Plus voter-approved indebtedness.
I'm sorry?
Plus the voter-approved indebtedness on different jurisdictions. Like we did the school bond 2 years ago. So.
But did we not, that sunsetted, didn't it?
No.
Oh.
You're talking about the parcel tax.
The parcel tax.
That's sunsetted. It's
Okay.
about to. But like we did a $600 million bond, Measure E,
Okay.
2 years ago. So
Okay.
there's a tax rate.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to your
Okay, that's
question.
fine. Okay. My next question is, if you could get your crystal ball out, what are you projecting interest rates to do if this was approved on the November 26th?
These bond interest
Yeah.
rates? Okay, so as Ms. Brown pointed out, we use about a 4.6% rate here, and that's based on the current bond interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
My projection would be that they may escalate between now and November 26th.
Okay.
Is that what you said? But,
That's my question, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to remain pretty much steady.
Okay.
Unless there's some something drastic that happens through some other administration.
Okay, and then staying on the interest rate question, is there a difference in the interest rates between the general obligation and the lease revenue bonds?
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. There's the rating agencies differentiate between general obligation bonds and general fund leases by one notch. And so general fund leases have a higher interest rate by typically around 10 to 15 basis points, so 0.1 to 0.15 percentage points. So I think where the interest rate for the general obligation bonds in our analysis was, I think, 4.67. It would be about 10 or 15 basis points higher. So, excuse me, just under 5%.
Okay. And then if you could go to slide 4, in terms of the projects that were picked out, these are some of staff's, that's 5, one more back. So how confident, I mean, are these general guesses on the cost or?
Okay, so the fire stations, we asked a lot of people, what's it cost for a fire station? And you get a different answer depending on who you ask. But what we also did was we looked at surrounding communities that had recently replaced fire stations, and we landed on one that was maybe a little bit more than what we're looking at replacing our fire stations, and it was a bigger footprint. Depending on one of our other fire stations, maybe not quite as much, but on the average, about what we would be looking at. And that one was at $20 million. It was a recent replacement of a fire station. It was at $20 million. And some of the questions that we asked when we asked other people, and when we went online and we looked, we saw anything from a fire station being replaced for $11 million to $30 million. And when we asked people in our own organization and outside of our organization, we got varying answers like that, and most of them were right around an average of about $20 to $22 million per station. So that's how we landed on $20 million per station for fire. The $45 million for the Ventura Community Park build out, that came from our CIP plan, and so did the West Side Pool.
And then what is the idea behind the courtyard replacement? Would that be taking the courtyard down and building a new?
Yes.
Okay, in the same location?
We didn't consider location, but we just considered taking it down and building a new one. So
And then
if we had to get a new location and we had to purchase land for it, it would be more expensive.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the police and fire headquarters, same?
That's just taking it down and building it right back where it is.
Okay. And then my last question on this is, again, since we're going to be building in the 21st century, would these be modern all-electric facilities?
That wasn't taken into consideration here.
Okay.
Okay.
And then if you can go to slide
Hold on
5.
just a minute. Let me ask Connie real quick, because I think she knows something more about that fire station that I was using. Was that an all-electric facility?
I do not recall that if it was all electric, but I do know that it had a larger footprint, as Greg mentioned, since they had, they're using it as also an EOC, an emergency operations center.
Okay, and this is my last question on slide 5. Is this, I get it's not a recommendation, but would that be how you recommended funding this potentially, or is that just an example?
It's just an example,
Okay,
not a
thank you.
recommendation at all.
Thank you. Councilmember Duran?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you so much for your presentation. It seemed pretty clear. I feel like I understand, but I'm just going to make sure. First of all, to piggyback on Councilmember McReynolds' question regarding the corporate yard replacement, I know that I thought there was some discussion before wanting to move it out of that yard just because of the sea air and how it rusts the equipment and all that other stuff there. I thought we maybe talked about selling property and buying something else. I don't know.
That conversation may have been had, but I'm not privy to it. I wasn't privy to it. I had been privy to maybe one conversation where that was the plan. Move it out of that location and move it somewhere else. But
Thank you.
I haven't been involved in continuous conversations.
So the way I understand it is based on property tax, based on a 0.5% sales tax for the most part. That's going to cover the cost of the bond, to repay the bond, the debt service, all that. That's what I'm understanding, correct?
Well, there's an option here, so you could use either funding method for repaying the bond.
Right.
It's just that in the example that we gave, if we added more to the general obligation bond, then all the property owners' average tax rate would increase per year for the 36 years of the bond.
Right.
And then with the lease revenue bonds and the property tax or the sales tax increase, then you could, again, take your choice. You could issue part of the bonds, the lease revenue bonds from that, or you could issue all of it from that. And the example that Sarah showed us with the green line that went up, that shows that lease revenue bond in totality gets us to, 1 year in 2036 where we're just hitting break even, and to every year after that where we're making additional money, paying off the lease revenue bonds and having an additional money for all of the maintenance costs that's going to be associated with your new facilities, and for all the general projects that we already use our general fund and Measure O money for.
And that was my big question in regards to maintenance, for operational costs and maintenance and things like that. You're including all of that.
Yes.
Which is wonderful. So let me ask you this on the West Side Pool as an example, and Ventura Community Park. Are we taking into consideration the revenue that's going to be generated from those two pieces? Because I know the rest of them, the fire station, the police station, police and fire headquarters, I should say, and corporate yard, we can't generate any revenue there, but we can generate revenue with West Side Pool and Ventura Community Park. Is that considered any more revenue generated because of this, finishing the park and putting the pool in? So do we know what that's going to look like?
We haven't done any analysis on what additional revenue would look like if we built that pool or if we expanded Community Park. I think it's obvious that there would be revenue associated with building that pool.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of new revenue would be associated with building out Community Park.
And just like looking at what's the profit loss on all that stuff? It's just good to know as we move forward. The parking structure, you said you didn't want to muddy the waters a little bit on that. You didn't want to combine the two. You said something about not wanting to bring that bond money into the parking structure.
I didn't say, it's not that I don't want to muddy the waters. I want to be more specific about how much of that bond we can afford from revenue that's generated in the parking authority. Mm-hmm. Rather than throw the entire $31.2 million estimated cost, and that's based on the last staff report we saw in 2024 on the general obligation bond example that we were doing here.
Because based on calculations and things like that, it was going to be able to cover paying that back, right? The money that we were getting in for the parking authority?
With the expansion of paid parking
Mm-hmm.
and the revenue that would be generated from the new structure, over a period of years, it would repay the debt. We would have to live through a little bit of a period where we got to a break-even point, but yes. And then there would actually be a period there where the parking authority would be paying back off all of its debt by itself, in addition to making more revenue.
It sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think that report was from November of 2023.
Yeah, wonderful.
So, of course, the analysis, that's almost 2 years away, so the analysis probably changed.
Yeah, well, thank you again. Thank you for all your information and for answering all the questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. At this point, we'll go ahead and recognize any public comments, Mr. City Clerk, if we have any.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 public speakers on this item. First speaker is George Amendola, followed by Spencer Noren, and speakers will have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening again. This is a really interesting follow-up from last week's meeting about how to fund WaterPure. Last week in the Enterprise Fund, we heard the burden to 33,000 ratepayers in the city of Ventura for Ventura WaterPure would be close to $1.4 billion. Now, this week, for potential general fund obligations, if it's debt financed, fully loaded, I estimate with the city's credit rating, using round numbers, it would be about $472 million. So, in 2 weeks' time, the debt burden to approximately 33,000 residents, I'm assuming there's consistency between ratepayers, property owners, businesses, roughly, the debt burden would be $1.872, $1.9 billion. Let that sink in for a minute. That's just some simple math. I'm not saying it's accurate, but I think it's reasonably close within maybe 5% margins. So, what does that mean to the ratepayer, to the average homeowner in Ventura? They're kind of the same, roughly 33,000 or so. That means not looking at it from a divisible of 110,000 residents, but the divisible of 33,000 residents, it's approximately a total debt load between the two funds, enterprise fund and now general fund, financed, of about $57,000 per ratepayer over 30 years, roughly, maybe 20, depending. Maybe it gets refinanced, maybe it doesn't. Look, I understand the need for upgrading infrastructure. It's a difficult position. You know, what do? You raise taxes, you put, burdens on with low interest bonds. The simplest way to get this passed, we saw on, decks maybe 9, I'm not sure, but 50% plus 1 to get it passed in a vote as opposed to a 2/3 majority. Look, nobody wants to have their prices go up to live here, especially when there are alternatives to consider that are not being discussed. For instance, something that's been talked about for Haley Point, the concept of swapping out the corporate yard at San Juan and selling that with entitlements to a developer could yield a lot of revenue, and you could replace with new facilities over to other areas within the city. Would that be $200 million that you could save? Don't know, but it's not being talked about. So thank you very much.
Next and final speaker, Spencer Noren.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Good evening, Mayor, Council, VPD and translation, staff, thank you so much. I want to start off by thanking for staff for their work so far in this bond and financing. It's not easy. This is something that's super near and dear to my heart, and I understand where Mr. Amendola is coming from when it comes to not wanting the cost of living to go higher in Ventura, in California. But what is the cost for quality of life? Because the one thing Venturans want more than anything than our cost of life going down or maintaining is to increase our quality of life at a higher speed. And you as council have a chance to get behind this general obligation bond, to give our community a chance to make a choice, to catch up what I believe leaders of the past have lacked. And that's further and foremost finishing community, AKA Kimball Park, 25 plus years, right in the middle of a lot of different districts, right in the heart of our town, 40,000 people, East Ventura Community Council, right? Number 2 would be commuting a West Side pool. What's the cost that Mr. Amendola was talking about, and referencing him with respect, of teaching our next generation how to swim, how to go in the ocean, surf, boogie board, body surf, save your life? This is where all of the demographics, all of the community that we talk about, we have a chance to let the voters decide through this general obligation bond. And then further and foremost, I talk about retention of jobs, the quality of jobs. And then safety, the response time of safety. Our infrastructure for our fire stations and our police and fire headquarters is really dated. You know what, I think similarly, the bricks here look very similar to the bricks at the headquarters in the 1960s. And the police chief that we brought in here, Mr. Lang, referenced in a meeting, I think is at Cafe Ficele, he was coming from, I think, Beverly Hills to here, and it was like going back in the Flintstones. These are some fun analogy that I use to where we need to understand about spending money on our local level makes sense. I'm not for more federal taxes. State taxes, not really. County, maybe. Excuse me. But for city, I am all in on that. And we haven't done that for a long time in the city of Ventura. Nor did we do it with the school district. And we passed Measure E. Solar's going in, air conditionings are going in, playgrounds are being $500 million in helping that capital improvement. So I want to be here as a former Parks and Rec commissioner, knowing that we used to have more than 30 unfinished capital improvement projects, mostly being a playground at Community Park, and back of the directors of those departments, especially Mrs. Arazua, and her hard work, and Public Works to get this money in there, and for you to give great leadership and give the voters a chance to put that burden on our back to increase quality of life for our safety and recreation. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. I will bring it back to council. No motion is required as this is a receive and file. So no other questions or discussion? Councilmember McReynolds?
I guess my question is, if we wanted to move forward with this, do we have to direct staff, or?
That would be a question for you, Mr. City Attorney.
Mayor, I think the council could provide whatever direction it wished to staff, or it can receive the information and ask for an agenda item, at a later date. We're also coming forward, I think probably sometime in September, we'll change to policy considerations, sort of future agenda items. So a council member could say a month or two from now, I took a look, I thought about the staff presentation on this, I'd like to see a future agenda item of something. So it doesn't have to be a policy consideration per se, it just could be a bright idea on GO bonds, a tax, whatever might be the council's pleasure.
So I guess I have a question then. So we are 14 months out from the November 26th election, approximately. So what is the timing in terms of bringing if the council was to decide to get this on the that election?
I think the deadline would be basically a year from now, August 22nd, 2026, for the November 2026 election.
And Councilmember McReynolds, I could just add to that. In Ventura County, we'd have until July. So usually the recommended deadline for council would be to make a decision by May, so that we have time to package it all together and get it to them in July, which means the council would generally want to make a decision if there was a public hearing required, for example, around March.
And then backing into slide 12, in terms of the outreach, everything detailed in there, like where does that take us approximately? To start having your public information forums, conduct public surveys, when does all that work have to get started if we have to get it approved in May?
Did you say May? Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you for that question. So I think in this instance this evening, the CFO was using it as an example, but if council wanted to move forward on this example, then we would most likely be wanting to direct staff by the beginning of the year to be able to have ample time for council to make a decision in most likely March or April, a final decision in May, and then everything is due typically around the middle of July to the county. But the general deadline, as was noted, is E-89, so 89 days prior to the election is the general deadline to submit a ballot measure. But if the council wanted to go through polling, for example, and do the other outreach steps, then you'd want to provide ample amount of time on that.
Okay, those are my questions for right now.
Thank you, Councilmember Schumacher.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to just piggyback on Councilmember McReynolds' comments. In regards to us, I know that this is a receive and file, City Attorney. Are we able to also say that we'd like the staff to come back with a reasonable plan in how we're able to put together by the election?
Councilor Schumacher, I think absolutely you could. I also would say, from having gone through a few of these, what's up on the slide there actually seems to be about what that might look like, and I'm not sure if staff might even be able to offer something.
I think that's what that might look like, but I think we're talking about several staffs.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
you know
And
I'm
that's-
just an accountant, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, that's what I meant, because I think I'm on the same page with Councilmember McReynolds in regards to, well, what does this mean? Like, what's the next steps here? Because if we're receiving and filing and then just kind of putting them on a shelf and then just, by the time the next election comes, we're all rushing to be able to figure out what to do, I would rather be a bit more proactive. So
Right.
I'd like to see a certain level of time frame for us to be able to develop something very intentional that doesn't surprise anyone, and we get plenty
so
of
this
community.
is kind of like a 10,000-foot view
Right,
of the plan,
I
but
get
you're
that.
talking about something more specific. to say,
Correct.
when do you start the public information forums? When do you
Correct.
start the survey? And
Exactly.
who does it? And, yeah.
Exactly.
May I?
Please.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we see our clients kind of bifurcated into kind of a discussion about the projects, because you're asking really good questions about, where and how much, and, the cost of maintenance. And so one discussion about the projects and trying to get your hands around the cost and the alternatives there. And another process that's really kind of focused more on the tool and investigating, is it to the community's interest to fund it through property taxes versus sales tax? And some of that can happen, or discussions or questions can be asked in a survey about, fire stations. Obviously, there's a lot of sensitivity to fire, and $100 million for spend on fire protection might be more palatable right now than $100 million spent on some other improvements. And so sometimes the process really kind of bifurcates before coming back together. And that, getting started sooner rather than later is helpful to allow that to happen, so that, by the time you're doing the survey, you're kind of building questions around some real numbers.
Correct. And I think today we've heard two very different perspectives. And similarly, I think when we do the public information forums, it's really important to make sure that we hear as many community members and how this is going to impact our whole city. So I think that is where really my intention is, and how we can move forward if we're moving forward. And so I just want to make sure that we're, again, more proactive than anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Deputy Mayor Halter, followed by Councilmember Duran.
Great, thank you. Just a couple last-minute questions and comments is, I think it's interesting possibility for us to do things that would take us years to do otherwise. And I think what I've always been focused on myself is how do we get the businesses that we all drive to every day to relocate back to Ventura, so that 73% of our workforce isn't commuting outside the city every day. And that's one way to increase revenues without any increased tax, is just trying to continue incentivizing, encouraging businesses to locate here. When I look at some of these capital improvement projects, like the examples that are part of this analysis or example, I think a lot of those, I believe, are ones that we put a certain amount of money in each year until they're funded, and then they move forward at that point. So there would be an offset if we use these funds through bonding versus all the money we put into those categories year after year after year. And you got to balance that against the cost of living increases and the significant increases of the costs of new codes and new tariffs and other things that may come up. So it's kind of trying to get ahead of the curve. But I think what really excites me, with all due respect, is I really do think that if we significantly raise the standards of our infrastructure as a society, as a city, that begets people wanting to do the same with their own properties. That begets people seeing that we care about our community, whether it's weeds in a medium strip or whether it's streets that have potholes or majorly discolored because of the different layers of a slurry that's been put on top of it. That all means something to those of us that live here and see it, and those that come to visit, or businesses that may happen to drive through and say, wow, this is a very well-attended community, and we have high values. So that in itself is a great way to increase not just quality of life, but increase funding that would naturally come by those who recognize opening their store here, opening their business here, providing the jobs here is worthwhile because we invest in our own community. The only thing that I watch is what I said first, is that making housing more unaffordable, we have to balance that with getting ahead of the curve so that those dollars seem less and less as each year goes by, so that we could get back to the point where putting a roof over our heads and food on the table is a given. It's not the thing that you have to work 3 jobs to do. And we have to get to that point at some point. And there's many different ways to attack that. But I balance the bonding with making housing more unaffordable. But for a couple $100 a year, for the average person that owns a property, to do a lot of these things we talked about, it could significantly be outweighed with the benefits from my perspective. So thanks for this. I'm looking forward to looking at this further.
Thank you. Councilmember Duran, followed by Councilmember Campos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the public information forums, do we have, you want to get information out to the public, and then you want to conduct a community survey. I'm assuming in that order, getting the information out and then conducting a survey in order so we can get information from the public in regards to where the pulse is, right? Is that correct?
I think that would be the reason for that. In addition to finding out where the pulse is, maybe even getting some ideas from the public about what other projects we might be considering.
So,
or what are their favorites? You know, I mean, we've put some things up here. What do you like the most?
Yeah.
I think everybody loves public safety. But
agreed. And so I'm guessing that regardless of how we feel about more taxes or projects coming in or a bond or whatever else, how we feel, we need this information to kind of make decisions based on going forward. So when do you even have dates set up for that, or do you need direction from us to start setting up the public information forums and conduct a community survey?
we have no dates, no plans in any form. This was just an informational presentation that we were asked to do by the city council at the strategic priority setting.
Because I feel the sense of urgency by my colleague here that if we don't move on this now, it's going to be March, and we're going to try to figure out what to do, as both of my colleagues said.
So Councilmember Duran, if I understand correctly, I mean, we as council tonight can give that direction to staff in order for us to get information back that we would need to start moving on this if that's what we decide to do.
Well, I would like to go ahead.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think we can take your direction, whether you want to look at a tax measure or a bond issue, develop a timeline for the different salient points that were identified in the presentation, return to you and for your direction on whether to proceed or what to do next.
So just real quick point to that statement, I think it might be too early to ask for direction about whether you go lease revenue or general obligation tonight, because there's benefits to either one of them, and one of them might supply more benefits. And if we look at that before we make a decision to move forward, but I think it's absolutely time to start talking about public forums and community surveys. And again, I'm an accountant, but we have people that work in communications that have done this type of thing before. They know what it takes. We also have a lot of people here that were involved in the same type of roles when in 2016, and you know, how long did it take us to get out to the community before the vote for Measure O back in 2016? So we were working on that in 2015. So, you know, there's a lot of things to be done and not a lot of time to do it.
Thank you.
And to that point as well, I would really recommend the polling idea as to what could likely be the most successful with our community.
Thank you.
Well,
You finished or?
Well, no, not really.
No.
But
Okay.
that was my recommendation, to move forward on dates for public information forums and surveys. I think we just need to start rolling on that, and we can put all the details together, but that would
Okay.
be my recommendation.
Thank you. Before we move on, I want to go to Councilmember Campos.
I also wanted to suggest that we don't put everything on Mr. Morley's team, but have the city manager and his team figure out all the departments that need to be involved in this formulation, and then determine some date to bring it back.
Okay, Councilmember McReynolds?
I have a question for the city clerk, I think. So in my mind, there's a meeting of all the county, city, special district clerks, and you all get together and you talk about things that clerks talk about. And
It's true.
are you aware of any other agencies in the city of Ventura doing another a bond or a parcel tax or any other thing like that?
Sure. Thank you for that question. So as of now, I haven't heard of a potential bond that, say, the county is considering. I will say in 2024, there was discussions around a potential bond, a countywide bond that the county was considering at that time. They needed a little additional time. I haven't heard yet if that was something that would move to 2026. And also, just for information sharing as well, we've received 2 inquiries from the public on citizens initiative petitions. I don't have topics or no one's filed anything, but we have also received 2 inquiries from the public for consideration as well.
Thank you for that. So
Okay.
if somebody wants to make a motion.
I think Councilmember Duran had made a recommendation, and let's just make sure that it includes everything we need in order to move forward.
So the recommendation would be to put the dates together for these 2 items, and then, as Councilmember Campos said, getting whoever needed to be involved in that to make sure that. No, just great, just the accountant. And so, getting that planned out and working that out, however you guys deem appropriate.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second.
Thank you. So, Councilmember Duran, would it be fair to say that the motion is to direct staff to return with an item outlining the process of moving forward with either option?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. On the motion, Councilmember Duran?
We should put a date on that, too. I mean, no later than December, right?
Yeah. Sure.
We need to.
Of 2025.
Yeah, December 2025.
Sorry.
Could we put that date on that? Because I think it's important. If we don't get that date, if that doesn't happen now, it's not going to happen.
I'm not certain how much time we will need. I can assure you that we'll bring it back with as much speed as we can, if that works for you and your decision-making here. I just hate to put a date on it, not be prepared, and ask for a continuance, or have it prepared earlier and be sitting on it waiting for that date to arrive.
Is it safe to just say December? By December?
I think so.
Okay.
Before December.
Before December.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
All right, excellent. On the motion, Councilmember Duran?
Yes.
Councilmember McReynolds?
Yes.
Councilmember Mongonay?
Yes.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Yes.
Councilmember Campos?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Halter?
Yes.
Mayor Dr. Sanchez Palacios?
Yes.
7 ayes, and the motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and take a break now. We'll be back at 7:25.
Try and fix this right.
No. No.
Okay, we will resume our meeting now that everyone's back. Sorry, no, you're fine. On to formal item 15, which is the resolution amending the compensation and terms of the city manager's employment agreement. And just to, I'll go ahead and start off this item. The city council met in closed session back in June and July to review the city manager's performance. Deputy Mayor Halter and I were designated by the council as the negotiators to discuss a potential adjustment to the city manager's compensation. And we gathered input from the full council on the proposed increase and then met with the city manager to discuss the recommendation. Based on those discussions, it is recommended that the city council amend the city manager's employment agreement as follows. Provide a 3% merit increase in accordance with Section 5.A.1.d of the employment agreement. This will adjust the city manager's salary from $302,736.20 to $311,818 with 21 cents per year, and that would be effective August 30th of 2025. And so at this time, I can take any comments or questions from my council colleagues. And if not, we can go to our public comment for that.
Thank you, Mayor. There are no public speakers on item 15.
Okay. So then bring it back to council for a motion and a vote.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
On the motion, Councilmember Duran,
Yes.
Councilmember McReynolds,
Yes.
Mongonay,
Yes.
Schumacher,
Yes.
Campos,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Halter,
Yes.
Mayor Dr. Sanchez Palacios.
Yes.
7 ayes, and the motion carries.
Okay, sorry, I was looking at Valerie and I was like, did you want to say anything? Sorry. Okay. I just went straight to it. Thank you. And thank you, Bill, for your work as well.
Thank you. As I've told you before, it's an honor and privilege to be able to serve the community in this way. I appreciate your support.
Thank you. On to formal item 16, which is the acceptance of the Priority Legislative Budget Grant Projects Funds from Ventura County Transportation Commission for Santa Paula Branch Line Rails with Trails project. And I don't need to, no. I'm okay, Mr. City Attorney, I'm okay staying here, yeah? With this one, because it's Ventura County Transportation Commission? I should be fine.
Is there any action required of council?
Motion required for action.
Accepting the funding from Ventura County Transportation Commission.
Probably, since it comes to the county, just without looking into it, I think you may want to recuse just out of an abundance of
Because of my
caution.
employment with the county?
Right. Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Deputy Mayor.
VCTC's an independent authority.
I don't know that, right? I mean,
Mr. City Attorney. I'm on the VCTC. Does that make any difference? I represent the city there.
Again, Deputy Mayor, I guess without looking into it, I guess, had you participated in any, and that's a non-compensated position.
Correct.
Had you participated in any actions to move the money here?
That was before my time.
Okay. Without knowing further, I might suggest just recusing out of an abundance of caution.
Okay. Who else wants to recuse? Who's next? I think maybe Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Moe.
So, And even though the Ventura VCTC is not, like, it's not part of the county per se in terms of the government agency.
It's a separate agency.
Correct?
Yes.
So.
Oh, is it a
Yeah.
See, and Mayor, I guess
It's a separate
these
agency
are.
than the county of Ventura.
So it's a separate agency from the county, so then I should, I
And
can
I guess,
stay.
Mayor, my only point is, without knowing more, other than sort of that, is it separate, is it not, and sort of just getting this on the floor, my suggestion was out of an abundance of caution, but in terms of looking into it, we could certainly look into it either for future items or
Okay.
if there's confidence that it is an independent agency
It is.
and
It
not
is
just,
independent.
and not subordinate, I don't seem to see a problem here, but again, this is something that we'd probably want to look into for future items as they come forward.
Okay.
The funding came directly from the state to VCTC. It didn't pass through the county.
But again, the point is that I'm getting this on the floor, and so it's a little tough to provide the best advice, and that's why the suggestion would just be out of an abundance of caution, but if there is confidence that it is independent, that might be another thing. The other thing, too, is if you have five to act already, that might be another thought.
Okay, so can I sit here and just listen and not say a word, or do you want me to leave?
I think it's either participate or recuse.
Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and recuse myself. I think it's handled. Thank you.
Okay. No, you can't go home. Okay. We'll go ahead and then
Okay.
proceed, and we'll have staff go ahead and do
Okay.
your presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Jeff Herford, and I'm the Transportation Manager for the City of Ventura. I am here tonight with Charlie Ebling, our Public Works Director, and Alex Puga, who's our Senior Transportation Engineer and the Project Manager for the Santa Paula Branch Line Rails with Trails project. We are here tonight to ask Council to accept special legislative funding in the amount of $4 million to partially fund the Santa Paula Branch Line Rails with Trails project. This funding is being transferred from the Ventura County Transportation Commission, known as VCTC, who was awarded this funding. We also wanted to take this opportunity to provide a brief update on the progress of the project. Next slide. Topics for the update tonight will include a review of the project team and collaborators, project background, design, public engagement, trail safety, and project timeline. The City of Ventura is the lead agency in this project, but is working with and being supported by a number of agencies and consultants. On the agency side, we are coordinating with VCTC, who is the owner of the rail right-of-way, Ventura County Public Works and Watershed Protection District, and City of Ventura Police Department related to trail safety. On the consultant side, the project is being led by Chen Ryan and Associates, who is supported by Pacific Coast Land Design, who is a local landscape architecture firm located in downtown Ventura. Next slide. In total, the project is receiving just over $31 million in grants, and there is no required local matching funds. The grant funds being received for the project are 100% state money, not relying on any federal funds. The design and right-of-way phases of the project total approximately $6 million and are from the Caltrans Active Transportation Program. The construction funding is through the California Transportation Commission Solution for Congested Corridors, which is funding approximately $21 million. And lastly, the priority legislative budget funds for $4 million that we are asking council to accept tonight. Next slide. The Santa Paula Branch Line extends 32 miles from the East Ventura Metrolink Station in Montalvo through the cities of Ventura, Santa Paula, Fillmore, and unincorporated areas of Ventura County, including the community of Piru. The line was originally built in 1887 by the Southern Pacific Railroad and was purchased in 1995 by VCTC with a vision of it being used as a multimodal corridor. In 2000, VCTC adopted a master plan and environmental impact report for its use as a multi-use trail. Since that time, sections of the trail have been constructed in Santa Paula, Fillmore, and Piru, totaling just under 4 miles. The project being presented tonight will construct an additional 4 miles of trail through the city of Ventura, starting at the East Ventura Metrolink Station and ending in Saticoy at the Saticoy Train Depot. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Alex to go over the details of the project.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, Mayor and council members. So I'll be guiding you a little bit through project design, our project outreach, trail safety, and timeline and next steps. So what is included as part of this project? On the screen, you see a list of the elements that you'll find throughout the trail. Mainly, this is a 4-mile Class 1, Class 4 trail that would generally be 12 feet wide and contain 2-foot shoulders. This is wider than minimum requirements for a trail of this type. In addition, this project will also contain traffic signals, a hawk signal, flashing beacons, and solar lights, in addition to all the other elements that you see on the screen there. We are finalizing the design, and the renderings that are shown on the next few slides are true concepts at the moment. But to set the stage, we'll begin on the westernmost portion of the trail at the East Ventura Metrolink station and move our way eastward. The slide shows the trailhead at the East Ventura Metrolink station in the Montalvo area of the city. This area will receive on-street improvements that include bulb outs, planting, and in addition to the removal of a portion of the masonry wall that really allows access onto the railroad right-of-way and really begins the Santa Paula Branch Line Trail in the city of Ventura. Now moving east, we reach our first major intersection at Johnson Drive. This crossing, as you could imagine, posed a significant challenge due to the high traffic volumes. After reviewing several alternatives, we determined that a full traffic signal interconnected with the signal at Crescent is the best solution. It not only prevents vehicles traveling southbound on Johnson from queuing up to the train tracks, but also provides the safest solution for both motorists and trailer users in addition to locomotives. Continuing east, we reach Bristol, our first departure from the railroad right-of-way. This adjustment was made for safety reasons, ensuring the crossing is perpendicular to Bristol and preventing eastbound vehicles from queuing near the train tracks. One unique challenge here is the proximity to active farmland. To address this, we worked closely with the adjacent farm owner and reached an agreement to acquire a portion of his property while being mindful of agricultural operations. And this is an area where we will be installing a hawk signal. Now moving to the eastern side of the trail, we arrive at the Wells Road and Telephone intersection. At this point, we again step away from the railroad right-of-way, again for safety reasons. After evaluating several alternatives, we determined that using the existing telephone road crossing would provide the safest solution for crossing this impacted intersection. To make this possible and to install a two-way cycle track, though, and to safely separate cyclists and pedestrians from motorists, we need to remove one left-hand turn lane. In addition, we are making use of an existing trail that has been rehabilitated and is ready to connect to once the construction Santa Paula Branch Line is complete or begins. And then on this rendering here, on this image, now we've entered the county right-of-way in the Santa area, which brings us to why we're here at council tonight. Originally, only minor improvements were planned here. However, we were able to secure additional funding with the condition that some of it be used in Santa. This gave us the opportunity to not only complete the connection between the East Ventura Metrolink Station and Santa Train Depot, but also deliver much-needed pedestrian and bicycle-friendly improvements that, again, completes the complete intent of the original grant. For a project of this size, a robust outreach plan is essential. On the screen is a list of the 17 meetings we held with stakeholders in the community, culminating in our 6th meeting on May 8th. Beyond these meetings, we also developed a project website, a story map, a survey to give the community the opportunity to select trail amenities and help shape the project. As you can imagine, trail safety was a major concern for a trail this long, right, and going through railroad corridor. But we took a pretty holistic approach, combining design strategies, trail safety elements, policy, and working with Ventura Police Department on enforcement strategies and policies. Some of the design strategies that provide some trail safety are shown on the screen, and those include clear sight lines, installing security boxes, designing the path wide enough so that emergency vehicles could have access in case of emergencies, We definitely provide a separation from the trail by providing a setback from the rail line itself, and you'll see some physical barriers such as fencing or railing throughout the entire trail that again separates trail activities from rail activities. I've highlighted the crossing treatments that we've provided, but in addition, we'll also have some solar lighting similar to what's shown on the Ventura, or what we currently have at the Ventura River Trail, spaced 100 feet on center to really light up the trail at night. And in addition to that, we'll also have some CCTV cameras that feed directly into Watch Commander's office. So where are we currently? So currently we're moving towards our 90% design in hopes that with the expectation that we're done with design late 2025. And we're hoping to be ready for construction by early 2026 and having a full grand opening of the trail by mid-2027. The recommendation in this staff report supports the strategic priority of infrastructure and the focus area of continuing to maintain and improve the conditions of roads, water, storm drains, parks, municipal facilities, and Main Street moves infrastructure. The recommendations shown on the screen are those that are contained in the staff report. As a reminder, we are here tonight asking for council to not asking for council to approve the project, but to accept the $4 million in priority legislative funding.
Great.
As previously mentioned, we have completed our outreach phase of the project, but I invite everyone to feel free to email if they have any questions or if they would like to sign up to receive project updates. Please visit our website. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, staff. I'll bring it back to council for any questions. Councilmember Schumacher?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, staff, for your presentation. Just very quickly, if and when we accept the $4 million, is there any matching that's involved in it?
Thanks for the question, Councilmember Schumacher. There's no matching funds required for this.
Beautiful. Love to hear that. The other questions that I have, you said you did a lot of, it looks like you all did a lot of really great outreach and engagement in the past couple of years. Community reaction, just in summary?
It's been pretty well received. I think initially, the community had some setbacks on it, right? They had some reservations with it. But as throughout the, it was mainly safety and trail lighting, right? But we've since gotten past that through, like I said, I mean, we have our design strategies, right, that we've implemented.
The solar lighting?
Not just the solar lighting, but there's clear sight lines, like I mentioned, right? There's solar lighting, CCTV cameras, so on and so forth.
Great. And then, so I know the $4 million is just to set up the project. Maybe this is for the director. Maintenance costs for these CCTV cameras, is that going to be increasing our budget moving forward?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Schumacher. Probably incrementally, nominally, I wouldn't expect it to be much. And it will, as was mentioned, the feed from the CCTV cameras will go right to the Watch Commander's already existing system.
Great. And so we're just setting it up then?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll go to public comment. Oh, Councilmember McReynolds.
I have a unrelated question in regards to slide, I apologize, 11, or 12, sorry, slide 12. So you were able to successfully negotiate the acquisition of some of the farmland to create that crossing across Bristol. Would it be possible to, at a future time, look at the same acquisition along Ramelli to finish Ramelli from where it goes from the 2 to the 1?
That is in our CIP, widening Ramelli from Telephone South.
I actually thought we couldn't do it because of SOAR.
Yeah, and I have heard it could be a SOAR issue as well.
So why isn't this a SOAR issue?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. And then just kind of a follow-up question. So I was walking around Community Park this weekend, and they have the mile markers, and they're sponsored by some folks. There's the sign people donated, Pier Under the Stars, the pier. We have all the. Have we thought about doing some? I don't necessarily know if we're doing a.
That hasn't come up.
I know people like to
Yeah, to sponsor the maintenance. The current proposal is to utilize some TDA, some Transportation Development Act money that we receive each year from VCTC for maintenance of the trail. But these types of things can be brought up, and I have been approached by some people in the bike community that would be willing to do that. So that is something that I think we can look at in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'll go ahead and recognize any public comments if we have any.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one speaker, Spencer Noren.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mayor, Council, VPD translation. I want to speak in favor of this project, the $4 million, and to show Mr. Hereford and his staff how hard they've been working, Mr. Ettinger. And this is awesome. This is going to bring safety, access. We talk about going from the east to the beach, bringing quality of life, especially in some of our darker spaces. That railroad along those communities has been a space that's been neglected and forgot about for a long time. Foresight and vision with this project has been awesome. Thank you. I think we're going to need mass communication about the hawk signal there, because we do fly coming from North Bank over to Johnson through the commute there. And did I see that tile that's slide correctly? There's going to go a light. That wasn't on Johnson. Was that going south on Johnson? I don't know, by the railroad tracks, or I might have misseen that. If that was the case, I think that a lot of communication as well. Because, things have changed. Like when you're coming on Ralston, Bristol right now, going on Johnson, I'm not sure the feedback we've been getting about going from one lane from Ramelli to Johnson. Councilmember Duran, maybe you've been getting feedback on that. But a lot of changing happening in that area. So traffic a concern, I think, for our community members. We're building more on the east side, the senior living facility going down there. The project, Mayor, starts with a V down below Huntsinger Park, right? A new project's going in down there as well. So population's going up on the east side. I think traffic and traffic changes in the fluidity of that traffic will be the biggest concern moving forward. Because the project is going to be accepted, but the change of traffic flow will be an issue as far as safety goes when we talk about the new hawk signals by North Bank. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Bring it back for council deliberation. A motion is required to accept the $4 million. Councilmember Duran?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say thanks so much for bringing this. What a big win for us, man. This is awesome. This is really awesome. But since the project is 100%, I just got one question. Since it's 100% grant funded, what's a contingency plan if costs or time delays or occurs, if cost occurs? Who covers potential overruns?
And that is, thanks for the question, Councilmember Duran. That is one reason why we're able to secure this $4 million, because we knew that there was a few cost overruns. And so about $1 million of that $4 million is going to be used in Saticoy, and the rest of that funding is going to be used elsewhere on the project. So our current estimates are showing that that's going to cover everything. If by chance there is more overage, we'd have to look at some of our local sources or discuss with VCTC or some California Transportation
Or
Commission.
sponsor some stuff, right?
Or sponsors.
There you go. Anyway, I just want to say great job. Thank you for bringing this forward.
Yes. Councilmember Schumacher.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to echo that. I really appreciate all the hard work, and also with the very mindful of safety. I think you all highlighted this very well, only because, recently we know about the woman in the incident with her arm. And so really being intentional and making sure that safety was a forefront to this project was really, I think you guys just really focused on that, and I really appreciate the work on this. Increased in public transportation, inclusive of bike lanes, there's no matching. For me, I'm strongly approving this. This is great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Is there a council motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Good job, staff. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we do have a motion and a second to approve the staff recommendation. Councilmember Duran?
Yes.
Councilmember McReynolds?
Yes.
Councilmember Mongonay?
Yes.
Councilmember Schumacher?
Yes.
Councilmember Campos?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Halter is recused. Mayor Dr. Sanchez Palacios?
Yes.
6 ayes, and the motion carries.
Thank you. And we can get Deputy Mayor back to close the meeting. We will now go back to public communications.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any?
One additional speaker, Spencer Noren. Spencer, you'll have 3 minutes. General public comment.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, welcome back. Council VPD in translation. Very interesting here, my public comment when I'm the only speaker. So even though I've spoken 3 times today, thank you for hearing my words. And I really appreciate coming up and allowing for public comment because a few things are on my mind. Number one would be the success of the Throwdown, the cornhole tournament. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. John and his team at Spencer McKenzie's continues to bring the largest cornhole tournament. Huge event, huge tax base. I don't think that this event is getting the attention and notoriety it deserves from our community, from our partners in our community. And I would just love for council and management to look at it a little bit closer about securing that. The martial arts community is huge in Ventura. And I want to shout out all of our businesses that do that. And not only is it huge for a business, it's also a way of our culture. Martial arts, the idea of self-defense with strength, is kind of the Ventura attitude. I think, Sheriff, you would object to that, right? Being an old bulldog. It's not the size of the old sound of the bark, they would say, but the bite. And that's Ventura, like surfing attitude that you would have, the code. And that goes hand in hand with the way Ventura needs to be respecting the people that invest in Ventura. And I think that's super important when it comes to culture. And now cornhole is part of our culture. Who would have thunk, right? Oh, good old cornhole, throw in the old bag, but it's fun. It's very universal. And I just want to make note of that. And then I get into, again, my idea of putting in a drag strip asphalt at Community Park from last week. The kids loved it with rave reviews. I made my public comment on Instagram and went over 50,000 views. Got over dozens of comments from local moms. Mr. City Manager, I'd love if you work with some of your council members. I think they would be in agreement to this. And Jimmy from American Asphalt called me and said he would winky possibly do it for free. I don't know if we can do that with respect to prevailing wage and the process, but can we pave a dirt path that's in Community Park with a community that wants to have these kids have open space? I would love to ask that question and be answered. I think I can make it happen. I had 25 e-bikers in front of me again about an hour ago at Community Park, and Mayor, I'd love to have you out there again if you want to join me between 5:30 and 7:30. I think they'd love to see you. Police officers are doing a good job, but it's hard to get out of the car fast enough before you have that social interaction with these young men who are looking to bridge the gap between police officers, young children trying to find that space where they fit in society. And I think this drag strip can be an act of kindness. So I can orchestrate it, help you with it. I talked to them again today. They want to make sure it's not the hard concrete, it's the asphalt, because that's the softer. If they fall, it doesn't hurt them as much. Those are the details we're talking about at Community Park. Thank you for your time.
That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, any comments or follow-up related to public comment?
I do not, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we adjourn the meeting, I did want to acknowledge, Mr. City Manager, we kind of rushed through your portion of the meeting, but really, I do think that I wanted just to say thank you for working here at our city and helping our staff reach their goals and ensuring that you take council direction as provided. And so I just really want to thank you for your commitment to our city as well. And I'm sure that if council members want to share some comments, I'll give them the opportunity as well. But thank you for sticking with us.
As a new council member, the city manager has been so key in helping me, and I'm sure with Alex as well. And I just really want to appreciate you for taking the time and making sure that I have everything that I need to be successful in my role. So I appreciate you. I really want to just publicly say that we are so lucky to have you. Thank you for your passion, your commitment, and your leadership for this city. And our wonderful city is just so happy that you're here and leading the staff and leading us as well, or working together with us as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have Councilmember Campos followed by Deputy Mayor Halter.
I seriously want to thank you for your responsiveness. It's not like you have one boss, you have 7. And we're always telling you problems in our communities and asking you to take care of them. And you not only take care of them, you do it with grace and reaching out to the members of the community. That's a very special talent, and I thank you for that.
Deputy Mayor Halter?
Great, thank you. Just want to say earlier, I think we were just so focused on getting this meeting over, and we take it for granted. You know, the people like yourself that are in the right spot, doing great things for our city. Having been in the city now for almost 40 years, 39 years, it's really an exciting time to be on the council. I think that we have a lot of the right people in the right positions, and you're definitely on the right path, and you listen extremely well. And I think there's things that you picked up so much so quickly, having come from a background that you came from. It was absolutely astounding to me. And I do think, though, there's things that you can learn in the departments that you may not know that may be more complex that would help us even accomplish a lot more. But I really do feel with the help of a public and with the help of all the staff that is in these positions that we desperately need quality, good people in, and you managed to fill those positions, that we could really accomplish a lot. And we can't fix the problems of yesterday overnight. But regaining trust, building teamwork, making sure that we stay focused on changing the paradigm and creating the best future of Ventura, for Ventura, with the values that we have as Venturans. I think you're very, very much the right person at this time in Ventura's history to be doing this, so thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Mangone?
Well, now I have to also. No, I think, I think the residents don't often recognize how much the staff does outside of the meetings. And I think kind of to echo sentiments of what Councilmember Schumacher was saying is, being a freshman council member, there's so many uncertainties. But one thing is for sure is if I ask a question, a text or an email, you are going to get back right away. And it's not, give me some time. It's the majority of the time you have already found the information when you respond. And I think the community doesn't really know. I understand how much effort that would take to do that for 7 council members and also staff on top of that. So we all had an opportunity in your review process to kind of let you know how we felt about the job you're doing. And obviously we all think you're doing a great job, but I'd like to say it out loud too. So thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, then we'll... Oh, Councilmember McReynolds, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I want you to stop answering my emails at 4 a.m. So I don't know why you're answering my email at 4 a.m.
All right, no answering
May
emails
I?
at 4 a.m. Councilmember Duran.
Yeah, thank you. We talked earlier, and I think you know how I feel about you. And I think what I appreciate most about you is that you are in our community, that you not only live here, but you're in our community. I can see you at the parades. I can see you at a grocery store. We can run in and we can have a conversation, and you care deeply about this place. I can tell you over the last 2.5 years, there's been some things that have been done in our community that we voted on that wouldn't have happened if you weren't behind the wheel. And so I just want to say thank you, because there's a lot of people don't know what goes on, but your leadership has helped us to be able to move some things forward that needed to be moved forward for quite some time, different things. And so you, like Councilmember or Deputy Mayor Halter said, you're absolutely the right person at the right time right now. So thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice words. I love this community. I was born and raised here. My parents were born and raised here, and we're a third generation. I'm a third generation Venturan. And all these things that happen, I couldn't do any of it without this amazing staff. We just have a really energetic, excited, talented team here at the city, at every department, at every level. And they're the ones that deserve the credit. Answering emails at 4 a.m. is easy, or text messages or whatever. But the complexity of the work, the exuberant, enthusiasm for accomplishing things in the community. There's just nothing but great things on the horizon, and it's really exciting to be part of that and to see it, make our community better. So I love doing this. I'm super excited for the career change that I had a couple of years ago, even though it was never anything planned or expected. But this, for me, working in my own community, helping to make it better, is the best. A great capstone to my career of public service, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. And so with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn our meeting to our next regular meeting, which will be on Tuesday, September 16th. Thank you all. Have a great night.